As of July 21st of 2024, there are currently 50 volcanoes which are actively erupting around the planet, a total which is 3 more than were erupting last week. One of these erupting volcanoes, representing North America's tallest actively erupting volcano, can be found a mere 70 kilometers southeast of Mexico City. There, the summit of the 22-kilometer-wide great-topped Popocatépetl volcano towers to an impressive height of 5,393 meters or 17,694 feet. Popocatépetl has been near-continuously erupting since 1994, largely producing Vulcanian and sometimes Strombolian explosions. And now, here are this week's top volcano-related news stories. In the Philippines, an unexpected volcanic eruption occurred at the highly symmetrical Mayon volcano, and as strange as this might sound, the culprit was heavy rainfall. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, a volcano with no confirmed eruptions in the last 10,000 years produced an absurdly strong swarm of presumably magmatic earthquakes. And, in what is this week's top story, it appears that the infamous island of Iwo Jima has most likely produced a new volcanic eruption. While fresh lava or ash emissions have not yet been physically observed, satellite data detected strong thermal signatures along with discolored cyan to green water a mere half-kilometer south of one of Iwo Jima's southern shorelines. The most likely conclusion to reach from these recent observations is that a low-intensity, primarily submarine eruption is ongoing at very shallow depths, which may have already erupted small amounts of lava that floated to the surface as lava balloons. This seemingly occurred in the same cluster of events which erupted in 2021, 2022, and 2023. During the prior 2023 eruption, a 34,000 square meter island was created out of ash and lava, but in the 7 months since, it has withered away to only 75 square meters in size. Thus, if this eruption does continue, it may once again build a temporary island, which could even remain after this eruption ends. As, while not known by many people, the entire island of Iwo Jima marks the resurgent dome of a massive underwater caldera. Since World War II ended, this island has risen by as much as 68.6 feet or 20.9 meters, which notably accelerated during the last 4 years, reaching about 1.5 meters a year at the present. This is why more frequent eruptions are occurring at Iwo Jima in the last few years, and may explain why its last 4 eruptions have occurred from the same cluster of closely spaced vents. Since I expect some form of explosive activity and hydrochloric gas production to occur, I recommend staying at least 2 kilometers away from the ongoing eruption site at this time. Meanwhile, more than 2,000 kilometers to the southwest, the Mayon volcano unexpectedly produced an eruption at 6:16 p.m. local time on July 18th. This eruption lasted for 45 seconds, sending a plume of gray ash to 200 meters or 656 feet above the volcano. This event marked the second such isolated phreatic eruption to originate from Mayon since its lava effusion ended on November 30th of 2023. Yet, just like the prior larger phreatic explosion which occurred on February 4th of this year, heavy rainfall was to blame. Magma within Mayon's magma conduit is still cooling, with amounts of it still above 100 degrees Celsius. Normally, when light or moderate rain seeps into this conduit through groundwater, it is passively vented over the following 100 hours as steam. However, when more than 3.5 inches of rain falls in a single day, it can build up in the magma conduit at such large amounts that it generates an explosion. And this is exactly what occurred on July 18th after the heaviest combined 2 days of rainfall in nearly 6 months at Mayon. And in Indonesia, something strange has been occurring at the Tobaru Volcano, as on July 8th, a strong earthquake swarm struck a range of rainforests between the summit of Tobaru and a series of highly eroded cinder cones to the east, likely affiliated with the same volcano. These earthquakes were definitively magmatic in origin and occurred at the model depths and location of Tobaru's magma chamber. Then, 12 days later, an even stronger earthquake swarm occurred, generating more than 2,000 earthquakes in a 24-hour time span. While I am unable to find any obvious signs of ground deformation, and yes, I did check, my interpretation is that these quakes were caused by a batch of magma rising into and partially filling the very bottom of Tobaru's magma chamber. If this process continues for some time, then an eruption might become possible, although more analysis is needed. Here is a quick list of all the world's volcanoes which are currently erupting. Additionally, here are some volcanoes showing signs of unrest which are not erupting as of the recording of this video on July 21st of 2024.